Jonathan Lee Riches investigates. I am reporting in front of Catholic Charities. Del Rio, Texas. Catholic Charities, folks. And we are covering the border migrant crisis. Catholic Charities, one of the number one NGOs out there that help and facilitate the migrant situation throughout the United States of America. It's been said that Catholic Charities receives $1 billion in funding from the United States government, along with receiving funding from numerous private entities. A lot of secrecy when it comes to Catholic Charities, particularly down there at the Catholic Charities of the Rio Grande Valley down in McAllen. A lot of strange things happen at their facilities, bringing in migrants of all ages through back alleys and into the night, into warehouses. And then the migrants get onto buses at the bus station and fly out. Catholic Charities, a lot of times covering the border, I would personally see Catholic Charities blankets all across the border wall where people cross in illegally. But I want to share some new information about Catholic Charities, because Catholic Charities has their own Catholic Charities certain town INCs. Like, for instance, this one says Catholic Charities Archdiocese of San Antonio INC. Like I said, Catholic Charities down there at the Rio Grande. But Catholic Charities out of Chicago, which helps the migrant situation up there, helps ship migrants from down here in Texas up to Chicago. They're going through a little restructuring. I want to share some information about what's going on at Catholic Charities, because apparently, according to the Chicago Sun-Times, Catholic Charities is cutting jobs. Catholic Charities to cut 300 jobs in shift from government contracts. The contracts, which fund 12% of its budget, covers services such as child care, youth programs, behavioral counseling, senior care, adult protection, veteran services, and call centers. So they're cutting those type of services. What in the world's going on? Notice something about that, folks. A lot of American services. A lot of services dealing with Americans, right? Interesting, right? Because we've interviewed people in front of Catholic Charities in McAllen, Texas. Homeless people that are struggling. And if you're struggling out there with homelessness, please be patient. There's help out there. Don't give up. We are praying for you. But these individuals would tell me that they would be denied services in Catholic Charities. They would go into Catholic Charities asking for a sandwich or just some water, and Catholic Charities would say no. And instead they would feed the people that crossed into the United States illegally. And a lot of the homeless people took offense to that. They're like, why are you not helping veterans and homeless people here, Americans, and you're helping people that are not Americans and people that crossed in the country illegally? So Chicago, it seems like, is cutting programs that are centered around Americans. That's what it seems like this report is about. So let's read on. Let's see what else it says about what is going on with this Catholic Charities. It says it's going to cut services for these entities, right? After careful evaluation and discussion, we have decided to reduce our footprint as a government contractor in order to increase the time and attention and resources we devote to the services we are uniquely equipped to offer as private humanitarian organization. I wonder what that is. Is that to facilitate the immigration and the migrants? Over the last decade, navigating the government services sector has grown more complex, and funding has not kept up with the high rates of inflation. That means that many contractors no longer cover their direct costs, meaning much less the increasing costs of administrating them. The CEO said the organization will continue serving the same population and provide many of the same services, but will do so with greater reliance on private funding. Now this is Catholic Charities. Let me show you the one in Because people that crossed into the United States illegally, most likely in this area, were helped by Catholic Charities Del Rio. Catholic Charities Del Rio. They're closed right now. I wanted to go in there and seek comment. Looks like a store to me. But yeah, Catholic Charities cutting services. I'm wondering, bulk of their contracts will remain by helping migrants, or do they have to cut more services from American type issues, dealing with Americans, veterans, and childcare, and use that money that they're cutting to go towards the migrants, the people that crossed into the United States illegally? A lot of people think Catholic Charities is a little suspicious in their behaviors. What's your thoughts on Catholic Charities? Some people think they do excellent work. We'll be fair on JLR Investigates when we are objective. I personally seen things that don't make sense to me, particularly the secrecy of their operations. You know, in Catholic Charities in Laredo, they were bringing in people, facilitating transportation of people that crossed in illegally and bringing them, shipping them to the bus station, and then eventually up to San Antonio, which is Catholic Charities runs the Migrant Seat Resource Center on 7,000 Pedro. They called the cops on me one time simply for standing in the street watching and videotaping people crossing in to their building, in and out, and then loading them on buses. A lot of the facilities at Catholic Charities have these fencing around that's all, sealed where you can't see in, dark windows. They don't want to talk. They don't want to say anything when asked questions, though, they're an NGO and they get government, basically our taxpaying money pays for their service, right? The taxpayers, all of us, they get government contracts. Ultimately, the taxpayers are footing the bill. Catholic Charities, Archdiocese San Antonio. It's closed right now. They even got their own pickup truck here. Catholic Charities got their own pickup truck here. They also have a sign over here. I just want to show you the sign, by the way. It says, pursuant to Section 30-06 Penal Code, a person licensed under Subchapter H, a government code, may not enter this property with a concealed handgun. So there you go. Catholic Charities. Anything else dealing with Catholic Charities, I'll share information as it goes along, but I personally get a negative vibe by Catholic Charities. And I know people probably, and we're not saying anything's wrong with being a Catholic or Catholic Church or none. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying Catholic Charities. Though Catholic Charities, it's so complex. But why all the secrecy, and why, maybe Catholic Charities should, come out and give a statement and talk about a little bit more about their organization, to let the public be aware, instead of all the shadiness that we see and hear about, particularly if you paid attention to what's going on at the border. I'm JLR Investigate. Subscribe to my channel, hit the notification button. It's in a nice neighborhood. Nice neighborhood here. Look, they got the little Quig Ranch. Look at that. Quig Ranch. Little red wagon. They got somebody with a cowboy hat. Oh, and they got Texas Department of Public Safety staying at the Ramada. Interesting, right? Interesting, because a lot of times, let's see how many other are staying here. Is there any other Texas Department of Public Safety officials staying at the Ramada covering the border crisis? Texas DPS come from across the state, and they stay at the local hotels where the illegal crossings occur. The Del Rio sector of Eagle Pass is still getting hundreds each day crossing in illegally. I am in town in Del Rio covering the migrant crisis. Catholic Charities is right next to Whataburger, and it's right next to the Motel 6. Some little strip mall here with a little mom and pop shops, time to deal and stuff. It's a nice area. It's nice and sunny out here. JLR Investigates, covering the border crisis. We'll talk soon. JLR Investigates. Stay tuned.